Yo, what's going on, guys? This is going to be the final iteration, at least in my opinion, of the best shrapnel build in the game. This is going to be for both PvP and PvE. If you guys saw my version 2 of it, I put in about 20 minutes of, uh, I guess you would call it test footage of the build. Um, so basically, I've done a lot of different testing with mods and different pieces of gear and all that stuff, and I think we've come to the final point. I haven't been able to find a way to do more damage besides this, so we're gonna go over the mods, we're gonna go over the gear, we're gonna go over all of that stuff in this video, so you guys know exactly what you should be on the lookout for. So let's jump straight into it. So first things first is going to be the gear. Now there's not a lot different from the last time we did this, but I have figured out a secondary for it. Don't worry, it's not the Jaws. Um, but we're gonna go straight through it. So first things first, you're gonna have a four-piece lone wolf deck. This is gonna allow you to stack crit damage. For me, I have it as the Lone Wolf jacket, the Lone Wolf pants, the Lone Wolf gloves, and the Lone Wolf boots. I have all of these up to 2-star at the moment, so more HP and more PSI intensity. For the mask, I have the Bastille masks because when your HP is above 70%, you're just going to do a flat 10% more damage. As it goes for the helmet, I'm using the gas tight helm, and again, like last time, there's a lot of debate between the beret and the gas tight helm. And the gas tight helm, again, if you do the math out, does 10% more damage just flat. In practice, though, it's about 3 to 4% because of all the crits and the weak spots that the beret hits. But it still does more damage. So if you're min maxing 3 to 4%, you do want in its entirety. As it goes for the weapons, the main weapon is going to be the Soaker, the Last Valor. It's an absolute insane weapon. The Div Evo I recommended in the last one as a secondary because it's shrapnel. However, with a lot of testing, since CBDs 2, 3, all and even 1, the Div Evo just doesn't feel that good. So I've tried a lot of different things, and my personal recommendation is going to be the MP5 Puma. This isn't really going to be your damage dealer to bosses and whatnot. This is going to be your damage to mobs, ad clearing. So if there's a lot of mobs, the bounce is actually really, 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 really nice. So I highly recommend you get this. Now, if we look at the actual calibrations themselves, the calibration you want on your soaker as well as your MP5 is going to be double crit rate, attack power. So you're getting a flat 25% increase in damage. It does say minus 10% fire rate, but when we go into the mods, that's going to be negated. So you're basically just getting a flat 25% damage for both of them, except for this one. This one you don't lose fire rate, you just lose mag capacity and accuracy. So this one technically you're gaining a little bit more, but your like overall damage for the magazine isn't going to be as great. But as you can see, I have crit damage. I would rather a double crit rate, but we're still looking for that. Onto the mods themselves. If we come over to the shrapnel, currently I am using Shatter Them All. This is I want to say it's the best, but it does the best consistent damage that I found. You're going to consistently hitting a certain threshold of damage and not like jumping up and down and up and down. This is different compared to my last one. We had Shrapnel Smash. This one technically does do more damage, but it does more for a little bit, and then it does less for a little bit, and more than a little bit, then less than a little bit. So it's the average is about the same between the two, but this one just does more consistent over time. Specifically looking at the substats themselves, you're going to want to get weapon damage, crit damage. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get that on this. For my Shrapnel Smash, though, I was. You're also going to want to get damage to great ones because that also increases the damage for that. My personal recommendation for the fourth substat is going to be, and this goes for all of them, by the way, is going to be health, magazine capacity, and if you can't get that, reload speed works out well, and any damage reduction does do well. But personally, health or magazine capacity is really good. As it goes for the MP5, I found that Super Bullet Violent does way more damage than Bounce Rampage. Um, it does about, I want to say, like 6 to 8,000 more DPS. And as you can see here, this one is weapon damage, HP, crit damage, and damage to normal enemies. This is the only one that I recommend you don't get damage to great ones, because you're not using the MP5 as a boss shredder. You're using it as a like a normal enemy shredder. So that's why we have normal enemy damage on here. Now onto the armor mods. For the helmet, we have momentum up. This one is going to increase your fire rate, as I said before. If you get the minus fire rate, but the damage on your soaker calibration, this will counter it out. So you'll have fire rate plus 10 for the first 50% of the mag, and then plus 30% damage for the last 50% of the mag. And again, the substats, as you can see, I would personally prefer damage to great ones on this, but we got the three main ones that really do matter, which is weapon damage, health, and then crit damage. For the chest, this is a little bit of a new one after doing a lot of testing. Resist advantage is going to be the best defensive mod that you can get. I'm not going to go into the exact reasons why. I'll let you guys figure that one out for yourselves. But um, it's pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible. If you don't want to have a defensive mod, you can obviously go for something like this: weak spot damage or crit rate, crit damage, or weapon damage, and just boost that. But personally, for me, if you can get a defensive chest mod with good weapon damage and good crit damage, it's going to do the exact same amount of increased damage as something like this, but you also get a defense top that. So that's personally why I run this. I was able to get a purple weapon damage and a purple crit damage roll. So we're doing incredible on this and actually out damaging anything that a blue mod would do. Now on to the pants. Just like last time, this is going to be a best in slot roll that I shared last time. Weapon damage, magazine capacity, crit damage, damage to great ones. This is as good as you can get. And we're rocking Deadshot for more extra crit damage. Again, we're building up that crit damage with that crit rate so that we're constantly doing more than base damage. Onto the boots, we're rocking a slow and steady. I've still been trying to get a better one of this. This I would consider like a 3.5 perker, just because the damage to elites, I would personally rather trade that out for, again, health or magazine capacity. But you can use slow and steady, or you can use covered advance. Personally, the reason why I like slow and steady more is because you constantly have a 10% uh, boost to your damage and your status damage. So no matter what happens, you're getting that 10%. And then if you're above 90% HP, you get an extra 10% for 20. Covered advance, on the other hand, you have to not get hit for 4 seconds, and then you get 20% weapon damage for 30 seconds. So if you're constantly getting hit, which does happen a lot, you're not going to always have that damage boost. But this one, at least at the bare minimum, you'll get 10%. As it goes for the gloves, we have a crit amplifier. This again is also a best in slot. Weapon damage, max HP, crit damage, damage to great ones. This one increases my crit rate, my crit damage, again boosting, just constantly boosting crit rate and crit damage, because crits in this game do an absolute ungodly amount of damage. So the more you're doing it and the higher the damage you're doing, you're just boosting your DPS. And as it goes for the mask, now unfortunately I wasn't able to get a crit damage one. It was so unfortunate, but we ended up getting a best in slot weak spot one. Um, we're not complaining about that. We like hitting weak spots and headshots as much as we possibly can. So the 7% is not too terrible, and we got all the other perks that we wanted. So we did the best we could with that. But Yeah, basically explosive shrapnel. Every 20th shrapnel is an explosion that deals 300% damage. On a like a normal enemy or like a boss or something, you can be hitting upwards of like 30, 40,000 damage. And if you bring this to PvP and you hit an explosive shrapnel, you're doing like 20,000 damage. So if unless they're rocking 30k HP, you're one-shotting them with the shrapnel every 20 shrapnels. Um, so it's kind of broken. So we're not gonna do any testing in this video just because I've already done it. But if you guys would like to see what this build is capable of, go back to my other shrapnel build. At the end of going over all the gear that you need, I do a test at a cargo scramble, and then I do a test at the tree and hard mode. And since then, my build, as you guys will see, has pretty much doubled, if not tripled. So you can just imagine how much more damage we're doing. Um, so if you guys want to see actual gameplay footage of it, I recommend you go do that. But that's basically the entire build that you need. Um, if you guys need any more information about it, please let me know in the comments. But I've done quite a copious amount of testing when it comes to this build. I have absolutely loved Shrapnel since the beta. Um, pretty much carried me through the beta. So hopefully this build can help you guys out too. But again, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Don't forget to drop a sub and a like. It really does help the channel out. And I hope each and every one of you guys has a wonderful, wonderful day. And as always, take care. I'll talk to you guys later.